there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is DB333, and welcome to Hearts of Iron 4, Kaiserreich. Not Kaiserreich, god damn it, I said it. Hearts of Iron 4, the New Order don't surf, as the Union of South Africa. I'm so used to saying Kaiserreich after Hearts of Iron 4 that it's fucking up my game. It really is. Anyway. Last video, we more or less formalized an actual alliance with the ANC, and we're working actually reforming South Africa for the better. So yeah, right now we're just kind of continuing. Nope. Green Beret units inserted for Operation Springbok can proceed with Operation Blood Brother at once. Operation Blood Brother is to consist of a multi-step training program to assist Triggermen in the training of its own Special Forces Brigade, codenamed Reese's, who will be able to operate in a similar manner to the Green Berets. Instructors participating in Blood Brother are authorized to train Reese's recruits in all areas, and the Green Berets are trained, except for redacted, and assassination of civilian targets. Aside from these restrictions, Green Beret instructors are provided all assistance possible to the Triggermen officers overseeing the creation of the Reese's brigades. Instructors are to regularly report back to Polars on how receptive Triggermen have been to their advances, the disparities between Triggerman and Torch Special Forces training. Now effective, they estimate the Reese's brigade would be in action against Crusader. Understood. What else can we do? We can advise South African troops in a bit, not quite yet, but low manpower. Wait, did we not get the troop? I thought we, I don't know. I guess we're training them right now. Oop. So there goes the Madagascaran Civil War. This is the, it's really the beginning of, the bad times that are gonna end up happening. It's kind of a warning sign to everyone that, how do I put it? It's a warning sign to, I guess anyone who's playing right now that we kind of got to, get ready for civil war. 'Cause this happens a little bit before Hitler dies. Africans in the civil service. I gotta read that. As part of the reforms we promised the ANC, civil service shall be made fully open for everyone, with no limits on discrimination whatsoever. As a show of goodwill, we will appoint several prominent members from the council in high-ranking positions, so that they can work more closely with our cabinet. This move is sure to show all Africans that we are keeping faith to our word, and support our government will soar among the native community. We will also start a program to pair these newcomers with experienced white workers to not only make them learn faster their new trade, but also bridge our racial divide. So we'll start working on, it'll change our, military service, which I think gives us some, nifty little bonuses. Oop. The Republic is not doing too hot. Oop, the old new teacher. Nisiwe Mbeki has experienced a lot of things in her 75 years living in her village in the Eastern Cape. When she was born, South Africa was a colony. The First Boer War had just ended, and life in the village was going on as it always had. She had witnessed the Second Boer War, the formation of the Union of South Africa, the First and Second World Wars, and all the events in between. In the meantime, her village changed with the addition of new wood homes, a new schoolhouse with a generator, and more pressure on the residents, specifically the younger ones, to forget their past and traditions and change their ways. Nisiwe had been living with her son's family ever since her husband passed away. Not content to sit around the living room and stare at the wall, she took to telling stories to the children of her household. Were too young for school or to work. The children told their friends, and soon the village children would go to the house to listen to her stories. Stories of old Xhosa heroes and legends, one that she was told as a child, and one she was dismayed to find the young ones had a lack of familiarity with. Then one day, one of the white teachers in the village sought her out. He told her that the government had decided to start teaching Xhosa, Zulu, and other various native languages instead of just English and Afrikaans. This was due to the recent reforms to placate native groups. The only problem was there was a lack of white teachers who could speak Xhosa, necessitating the recruiting of elderly natives who could handle teaching duties. She fit for qualifications, and she could speak and write in English, thanks to a missionary who once visited a village when she was a child. Would she consider becoming a language teacher in the village school? Now Nisiwe is a Xhosa language teacher. She teaches children how to read and write in the language of their ancestors. She helps her son's family with an extra source of income, and most importantly, she still tells the children of the village the stories that have been passed down for generations of Xhosa. I don't know how I say that. I apologize if I'm not getting that right. Nisiwe is happy with the recent turn of events, and many other elderly natives in South Africa feel the same. The wonders of elders will be shared, so our academic base, societal development will begin to rapidly improve. So I think that goes to this. See, things start going on the up and up, you know? So we'll go up, I think, from secondary schooling to tertiary schooling, and then eventually to academic golden age, which will be nice, you know? So it's between the Republic, which is not so much a republic as an authoritarian democracy, and then we have the Hitnagut movement, which is a Jewish uprising, because I believe this province is majority Jewish. I think it relates to what is it? There's one of the original Nazi plans to how do I put this? Rid themselves of their perceived Jewish problem was to take over Madagascar and just send all the Jews there. I think that was one of the proposals. I think France refused to sell Madagascar. And so, well, we know what happened, sadly, unfortunately. But, you know. Africans in the civil services. There goes, the Republic. What do we want? Guess we gotta do, I think the African rifle regiments. It's becoming increasingly clear that the Boers are planning for something much worse than mere political subversion. We need all able-bodied men we can count on for the coming storm, and that time will come for the Africans to do their part in the defense of a freedom that will soon be theirs too. Currently, the South African Defense Force is fully stated, with Negroes forbidden from joining in command roles, but this will change. Effective immediately, all armed forces are fully open, with no distinction of ethnicity, and discrimination will be strictly forbidden in the Royal African Rifles. The country's first all-black infantry divisions will be formed and equipped. Of course, we expect all that Africans will enlist en masse. Surely they don't wish for government to be overthrown by someone with a keen preference for slavery and concentration camps. We can hope. God, we can hope. How to operate an electric typewriter. So, it's like a normal typewriter, but it's powered by electricity, explained Kalen Walker, an employee of the South African Ministry of Finance, to the new employee. When you hit the keys, a little motor inside makes a strike. Where does the cartridge come out? Asks Zolisa Barfour, recently hired by the Ministry of Finance as an intern and one of the first African employees on the floor. It doesn't. The striker moves instead. To confirm this, Balfour looked down the gap, but that raised more questions. What's this ball inside for, and where are the keys? That's a type ball, Walker said. The typewriter rotates around it to get used to the letter you want, and then strikes on the paper. It uses something called digital to analog conversion and, well, something coding. I forgot what they call it. It's complicated, but it's really fast. Let's just leave it at that. Here, I'll show you. Walker put a piece of paper and typed his name with a machine. Indeed, it was fast. You can replace a ball if you want to do italics or something like that. There's a set of balls in your drawer, along with a manual if you want to know more. And don't worry about maintenance. If they break, we can usually get someone from IBM to repair them anyway. Sounds good? Balfour nodded and got right to work on the typewriter. He learned fast, Walker had to admit. Maybe this Bantu hire program wouldn't be as much of a pain in the ass as in the office thought. Now, if only they made them in dual pitch. Extra stability? Very nice. Let's subsidize the farms, get some more city factories. How's our construction going? Actually pretty well. Impressed how well this is going. We have 11 out of 8 factory slots used up in Cape though, which is interesting. Still have low manpower, but what are you gonna do? The Hitchcock movement's actually holding out relatively well. I mean, the Germans are kind of going up against each other. It's a military state versus the Reich Commission, the RK. Fun fact, I think this guy was Hitler's former driver. Doesn't it say somewhere? Yeah, Hitler's chauffeur. And I think he was actually Jewish. I forget exactly, but I think that he was secretly Jewish. And when Hitler found out, he gave him a pass. They fixed the Tomsk glitch, so they're not ultra nationalist anymore. Shit. Let's work on tech real quick. Then we'll read it. Infrastructure reserves. Sounds good to me. And then what do we want? Could do anti-tank. There might be something better to research, so we'll go with, I don't know, infantry anti-tank. And the idea is that we put all these soldiers to good use, said Field Marshal Charles Fraser. So these new recruits are to be put in several all-African divisions. These units will be outfitted to the standards of all other South African divisions in the army. We will name them after the King African Rifles, so they'll be the Royal African Rifles or the South African Rifles if a referendum goes through. Fitting, don't you? Edward Lansdale looked at the proposal. Not really, he said. It may have been back in the 40s, but not what you need right now. With all due respect, said General Constant Villon, what do you mean not what we need right now? We've been staring down the pact for years now, and this is to prevent them from coming over here, over the border and taking Cape Town in a week. Isn't that what you're here for? I'm here to keep your country afloat, said Lansdale, and that's going to be hard to do if you insist on fighting the last war. The next conflict that you fight is going to be against the Boers in Transvaal, and you can't make the same mistake the British did by assuming you can fight a conventional war against them. You march those divisions four abreast, and they won't come back out. Do you have an alternative strategy? Asked Marshal Fraser. Turn them into a South African National Guard. Forget sending them into battle like it's Jalib again. You make these guys do some less glamorous work, Lansdale explained. They don't need a They need to be able to direct traffic, clear homes, get into remote areas, and send people to strategic hamlets. They're a counterinsurgency force. They bring the enemy on their turf. They bring the fight to the enemy on their turf. That's what you should have these men doing. General Vilhoen was unconvinced. You know that the Germans are going to come through Baluchiland any day, right? General Lansdale was still firm. And you know how many are buried in your country because someone thought the Boers were going to play fair? He has a point. No one fights fair these days. Unassigned divisions. So we got some South African Rifles, which is very nice. We got our men mobilizing a bit more, which is nice. I think we have rights for tribal lands, and then South African tribal majority is not a monolithic bloc as many people think. With them, there are many tribal factions like Baluchiland and Zululand, each following their own traditions and living with their ancestral lands. We shall sign treaties with local rulers, formally granting them autonomy within their tribal territories and promising never to touch their lands, in exchange for their loyalty. and perhaps the promise of support should anything befall South Africa. By gathering their tribal nations, we managed to gather allies amongst the country's African majority and secure the Union Party's place at the country's first universal elections. Sounds good to me. What else can we do? Probably buy some packed guns. Ooh, okay. Shit, they might win this. Okay. Total army intel, 2 to 10 divisions. Yeah, they have, the majority here. Actually, it's starting to be... 11 a.m., a chicken farmer pulled into a service station in Cullinan, outside of Pretoria. Oh, I'm glad... in the beta, I played this yesterday, it was B.J. Vorster down dead. So I'm glad they fixed that. He reported a call that the police had stopped a car with its engine running had been blocked on his lane in a remote highway nearby. When he went to investigate, he found the driver, a white man, slumped in the wheel, dead, what he believed to be a gunshot wound. The driver immediately left the scene to contact authorities. When the farmer led the police to the scene, they found it exactly as he described it. By the looks of it, the victim had been shot in the head at close range once with a 3.3 E80-inch bullet. The driver's side window had been opened and the car was in between the lane lines, indicating the vehicle had been stopped before the murder. The assassin had come from a side. The victim was missing their wallet and their identification, but one officer recognized the deceased, and the victim's surprising identity was soon confirmed. Balthasar Johannes B.J. Vorster was born to a sheep farmer in Jamestown, South Africa in 1915. Becoming involved in politics during his years studying law, he became a member of the pro-Nazi organization, the Osava Bradvag, during the war, an affiliation which earned him a detention at Koffiefontein. Claiming to have a newfound belief in the parliamentary system, he was elected as a National Party candidate for the National Assembly before becoming a senator. Known for being able to be approachable, eccentric, and occasionally reasonable, he was nonetheless committed to born nationalism and the implementation of racial segregation. Nobody who knew who ended his life on that road. The assailant had vanished long before the farm had arrived. Combing the area failed to find much in terms of usable evidence. No cartridges were found on the ground, nor were there any fingerprints on the car or the body. A tire track was discovered on the side of a road, but that may have been unrelated, and no claims of responsibility from one of the rebel groups of South Africa. Regardless of his beliefs, B.J. Vorster was a South African senator who was murdered, and the culprit may well get away with it. There's a killer on the road. So we lose some stability, but we lose some fascism support, so it's a win-win. What's the saying? The only good Nazi is a dead Nazi? Something like that. Rights for tribal land. And then votes for all folks. This is it, our boldest move so far, and the one which may change the course of history for our country by granting equal voting rights to all citizens of South Africa with no regard to their ethnicity. The balance of power will never be the same. We know that we are making ourselves a minority inside of our own country and de facto renouncing political dominance, but we are confident that the ANC will keep their end of the deal. More than anything, this will give us the weapon we need to win the referendum. No, we no longer need to bargain for a few thousand votes from the Afrikaner moderates. Now we have not hundreds, not thousands, but millions of new electors who will surely vote in our favor. We've won this battle. We can only hope we will stand together for the next one. So, we're pulling our ultimate trump card. It's weird. I haven't seen a point popularity there before. Advise South African troops. I'll hold off on that. Because we already have the thing. Operation Nobkerry was a tremendous success. The suggestion proposed by Blue to associate native elements on Triggerman services and the creation of Minutemen has reaped good results. The termination of B.J. Vorster by Minutemen, see full dossier brief, not only neutralized a moderate pro-Axis politician that could sway host electorate to their side of the referendum, but also provided their effectiveness of Minutemen as a loyal and productive asset, encouraging their deployment both on Operation Assagai and any further requirements. Oh, see how you tricky sons of bitches. I see what you did there. Yeah. Shit. GG's. Anywho, I'm gonna have to call it here, folks, so thank you for watching. As always, if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of my content in the future, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more uploads every weekday, as well as every Saturday. If you have any comments, feedback, concerns, anything of the sort, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get, and I appreciate any and all feedback you folks might have for me. If you want to send a few bucks my way, if you're so inclined to, of course, go ahead and check out my Patreon. I'll stop training these guys real quick. If you can't or you don't want to, I understand, but I appreciate if you could. I also have a Discord down below if you want to join with that. We can chat, play games, and just have a grand old time generally. I also finally have a Twitch channel. I'm kind of infrequent on when I stream there, but when I do, if you want to keep up to date with that, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Or check out the link below and follow me to see when I go live. So yeah, that's about it, folks. My name has been DB333. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.